Well, we're still here. It is part 2 of this interview. It is game night still for Magic the Gathering. Come on down. Every night of the week, there's a different game you can play here. We're also going to touch on something we didn't touch on part 1, which is beer and wine being served here at Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters is at the Artagon Marketplace in downtown, on I Drive. I'm drinking the Mission Brewery Hard Root Beer. Queen Q, what do you have this evening?
I have a delicious Royal Jamaican Alcoholic Ginger Beer, which is wonderfully gingery and wonderfully sweet.
Ginger and sweet. And DJ Zouain, our guest, what are you drinking this evening?
Yes, I am actually drinking the Sea Dog Wild Blueberry, which is dangerously good.
Sea Dog. And Greg Moen?
I have had that Sea Dog before. That's probably one of the better blueberry beers.
I agree.
I have a Hoegaarden. This is a white Belgian white beer, white ale, and it's delicious.
I gotta say, the hard root beer, it's got like 3 different kicks in it. When I first get it, I'm like, root beer, oh, and then suddenly,
I've never been a big fan of root beer.
Put a little alcohol in it. It works out really well. Well, our guest tonight is DJ Zouain, who works at theend.fm. Is that correct?
Guilty as charged.
And I said works there, but it's more than just that, isn't it?
I work there. I live there. It is my life, essentially. Has been for the past 2 years or so now.
And the N.FM is going to be one of our future locations for our show to be streamed live.
Yes.
Audio, that is. We'll have the audio live once we get internet issues worked out here at headquarters. We're still working on that.
Do we still not have internet?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Just checking.
No.
You sound very thrilled about that.
Well, I'm sure they're more disappointed than I am because they were hoping to have it for the grand opening 5 weeks ago so that they could have their registers, not on hotspots.
Hey, I'll ask again next week if we have internet.
Right. That should be a segment of the show.
That's
But
a
now it's
problem
time
we've been
for
dealing with
Do we have
internet?
internet? So we do not. So
No.
tell us a little bit about the N.FM, how that's going to benefit us here at Gods and Monsters, and a little bit of your history about that place.
Okay, so basically this was started out of essentially necessity. The End Radio Network is basically the answer to a bunch of broadcasters that are that are displaced or otherwise tied up with either contracts or being content providers for companies that don't really appreciate them.
Right.
You find that a lot, especially in the boom of the radio market, terrestrial radio. This is terrestrial radio is regular radio that you would listen to in your car.
Sure.
There was a huge influx of big companies buying radio stations back in the day, and that turned it into what it is today, which is a very big wealth gap between the content provider, the main content provider, and his basically underlings, for lack of a better term. So what we did was we put together a bunch of broadcasters that just really like to do radio, and we built a network. We put together a few shows. We're just starting to launch everything. We had a first website that went down. It didn't go over very well, so we relaunched it in February. Now we're back on track, and we have a really good team together. And it's basically based on a shared revenue.
Right.
So everybody works together for one end goal, and the bigger the company gets, the bigger the content provider's checks are, the bigger everybody. The more people can eventually leave their day jobs to do this stuff. This is not like MixLR, where MixLR you can have anybody with a laptop can do that. In this case, this is a lot more. This is a lot more centric for broadcasters. This is like not just anybody can get on there. We're going to have program directors and stuff like that for each channel.
Recently you said something to me about you've broken things up into different channels now.
Correct.
Right? Different categories. You want to go through like the list of different categories?
We're in the process right now of being the multi-channel network that we're advertising to be. Right now, we're one channel with a medley of the programs that we're going to be doing. We are currently in the process of basically launching our first 3 channels. The first channel is Mix, which is basically all DJs, both turntablists and people that are mixing, as well as people that are doing music. Just reviewing music, reviewing music industry, etc. Local shows, underground music, and then there's going to be a talk one. It's going to be called Turn Talk for the End Radio Network Talk, and it's all uncensored. lifestyle, hot talk.
Gosh darn, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so
Gee willikers.
G Willikers, yes. But no, then the channel which Gods and Monsters is going to be a big part of is going to be Nerdvana. And Nerdvana is all geek culture, all nerd culture. We have one of the main DJs for it is DJ Robo Rob. And Robo Rob is between him and one of our other owners, Carlos. They're spearheading and program directing all of that. But Gods and Monsters is going to be a big part of the Nerdvana channel and really of the End Radio Network in general. I know we're going to have a couple of DJs from here, and we're going to have some live events here. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be really cool.
I've heard Mouse talk about that. I think he wants to get involved with that in
I
some
heard
way.
I heard something about that,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
And he is definitely more than welcome. I've known Mouse for years, and he's a great DJ. I love the way he does things. So I'm excited to bring him on to mix and bring on Gods and Monsters to Nerdvana. So.
And then if the people want to find the end.fm, are there apps they can use for the smartphones?
Yes. Right now we have an Android app out that you can go to. If you just search the End FM altogether on your Android Play Store, you can actually download our app. And right now it's a basic app where it's just a big play button and a little screen that's going to be video at one point. So, starting from the bottom, as they say.
So far, you're on the Android. There'll be things coming after that iPhone
Absolutely.
after some time.
Absolutely.
You have
Right
any
now,
launch dates for that?
No love for Apple? No.
no love for Apple just yet. Really, honestly, it has to do with the barrier of entry is a lot easier through Android than it is through through the iPhone. So, our main developer is mainly an Android guy. So we're currently talking to another person that's helping us with the iPhone side of things. But really, if you go to the end.fm, no matter what
Right.
you're using, you'll be able to listen to us. You can navigate the website. You're going to be able to communicate with our DJs. You'll be able to send requests in, all kinds of stuff. And this is a side note. Recently, I've been getting into Periscope the past couple of days.
Yes, you're on it right now.
I'm
as a matter
on
of
it
fact.
right now. Oh,
Right
man.
now.
Hello,
You're on Periscope right now with
Hello, Periscope.
5 viewers.
Ooh, hello.
That's only based off of my group. It's not
Of
a Gods
course.
and Monsters group. That's just my silly little name
Well,
out there.
honestly, I just started
Oh,
it.
you just got a whole bunch of hearts. I just want you to know.
Aw. Well, thank you.
Just got a hi from Function 2 Flair, who I happen to know is from Memphis, Tennessee, and she's watching us right now.
Nice. Well, hello from Memphis. No, we. If you want to check it out, like I said, I live in that studio, so I am constantly there doing production. I'm there doing DJing. Sometimes I'll get on there and I'll do live DJ sets and train wreck to hell and back.
Nice.
Like you'll see me on some vinyl, like cutting up, and then just get out of it. And what did you play? And that's what Periscope is for. Until we start building viewers, and then I got to stop messing up as much.
Well, you were saying there was definitely a necessity for what it is you're doing. How long ago did you decide that this was something you want to do full time?
Well, my last radio gig, my last terrestrial radio gig was for CBS Sports Radio. I was on there with a local host by the name of Doc Holliday.
Oh, very good, Doc
Yeah.
Holliday.
Yeah. So Doc and I did sports talk radio over there. It was a lot of fun. I'm not a big sports guy. Like I like my Boston sports and my Orlando sports, but aside from that, like you're not going to see me spit out stats or anything like
Right.
that. But he liked that. So he liked the comedic value that I brought in and all this other stuff. So we hit it off really well, but we hated the station that we were at.
Right.
And that was the case, and that's been the case for the past 10 years that I've been in radio. It's either been I don't like the show, I don't like the station, I don't like the whatever. So now we make it so that it's the independent content provider that decides when and where they're going to do these things. We set up, okay, you're going to do a show from this time to this time, and this is your time. We're going to have a sales department that's going to take care of your sales, so you don't have to sell your own advertising.
sounds nice.
And you get a piece of it you get a piece of the pie for just doing what you love, which is providing content.
How did you meet Doc Holliday? Did you meet him just through the station, or
It's funny. Okay, so I met Doc when the first time I met Doc, I had been in the United States for maybe 6 months.
what year was this? by the way?
1991.
Okay,
I was 9 years old.
because at the time in 1991, Doc Holliday was on 106.7.
106.7,
Huge at
XL.
the time. Do you
Yeah.
remember when we were at UCF together?
Oh, yeah.
They had a song contest. Little
Yep.
sidebar here. They had a song contest where they wanted people to write a song about the show, and I wrote a song in there. And I got it submitted,
You
and they
wrote a
played
song?
it. I wrote a song. I had Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation cassette, but on the B side, it was the instrumental
Wow.
version of it.
We need
So I
to-
took the instrumental.
Kristen,
Excuse
if
me.
you're listening to this,
She's
I will
not.
pay you money.
I will find that, but it was about writing the song about Doc, Johnny, and Deborah at the time was the other one on the show.
Yep.
And I submitted it, and I came in second place. First place got to sing the national anthem at a Solar Bears
Oh,
game or
you're
something
lucky.
like that.
You're lucky you
I'm
didn't
lucky I
win.
didn't win.
Yeah.
But the B-side had Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation instrumental on it. So I wrote words about the DJs based on the Rhythm Nation song. I have it on cassette somewhere. It's in the attic. Hopefully it hasn't melted.
That is
we'll play that one
hilarious.
time.
Well,
but so you met him in 91?
Yeah, so I met him in 91 when I was a kid. I didn't know who the hell he was. You know, he was asking, I was going to Heathrow Elementary, and he was asking me where a certain classroom was. He was shocked that I didn't know who he was because he's
He was
just
a big deal in 1991.
Yeah, he was. I mean, there's a holiday.
number one, yeah.
I kid you not. Doc and Johnny Day is in June.
Yep.
Like, it's an official holiday
Yep.
by,
Still.
because apparently we've solved all problems in the world.
Yes,
So
yes.
now we give radio show hosts their own holidays.
That's right.
Great.
But yeah, so basically that's the first time I met him, and we saw each other after I started in radio. I started in radio in 04 as like a radio rat over at Clear Channel. Like whenever my friends who were hosts of the show would let me in, I'd tell a couple of dick and fart jokes and call it a day.
It's a living.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I met him through there, and I met a bunch of the other guys. And then Doc one day calls me up. I was setting up at a nightclub, getting ready to DJ for the night. It was a Friday night. Calls me up, and he's like, "I got a job offer for you." And I'm like, "All right." He's like, "I want you to do sports talk radio with me on CBS."
Wow.
And I'm like, "All right, you know I'm not like the sports guy, right? I know sports, but I'm not the sports guy." He's like, "I don't need you to be the sports guy. I just need you to be funny and know the
Good.
tech stuff."
You got to do color.
I'm like,
was Doc
cool.
a sports guy?
Yeah, Doc's a huge sports guy. He's a
Oh.
yeah. He's
Yeah, I
big
know.
in-
When he was at 106,
Yeah,
it
he's-
was a couple of yucks here and there, jokes, and then play
Yeah.
the song.
Right.
no,
but, yeah.
he's a
Talking
huge
to
sports
13-year-old girls,
Right.
For 4 hours a day, and
Right.
and then go home.
guy. Yeah, which is the only, by the way, the only job where that would be acceptable.
Exactly.
Well,
Talking to 13-year-old girls, unless you're a teacher, I suppose. I mean, and even that's
Sometimes
become
not then.
Yeah. So no, but yeah. So Doc called me up. We did that, and after I left, I remember I left, and 48 hours later, he left.
Wow.
I was like, he called me up. He's like, "So, wait, did you quit?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." He goes, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. That place is crazy pants. You should leave." And he did eventually.
That's common in corporate radio.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've heard tons of stories of people just being completely dissatisfied with their situation, and then they leave. Like Dan and Tom and Dan.
Tom
I'm
and
sure
Dan.
you- I'm
Yeah,
sure you-
I know them well. They're great
I mean,
guys.
they threw away tons and tons and tons of money to
Yep.
do now
Well,
what they love to do.
and you know what it is?
They have a podcast, don't they?
I've heard of it.
Oh, yes.
I hear that they do something.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a podcast or no, but in all honesty, Tom and Dan, I mean,
They have an empire now.
they really, as far as podcasting is concerned, they have taken it to another level. Like, and it's just, I mean, that's an anomaly in this world. That is something that you don't see all the time. So that's why I brought this on, because I know the type of work that Tom and Dan have done, and I know those guys are easily the most talented cats in radio in Orlando. To the point where after they left, the radio station called them to come back and do an evening
Yeah,
show.
that was ridiculous.
Like-
by
Right.
the way. I can't believe
That's
that
how good
happened.
they are.
That right there to me was it. And I have a ton of respect for them. All the other guys, SBK, everybody that came out of that crew, that station. So
Oh, SBK was just on. I work at Fox 35.
Yeah.
He was just on the news this
Yep.
week.
He
He
needs
was.
a kidney.
He needs a kidney.
he
Yeah.
does, yeah.
And it just seemed like just the other day he was on Real Radio on Monsters saying, I'm leaving, I'm going in a different direction, I'm doing
Yep.
different things, and now this has happened. And he said it comes down to just not taking good care of himself.
Well, Kevin, and the thing is, Kevin's a good dude. Like I've known Kevin. I mean, I talked to Kevin last week. I talked to him fairly, probably once or twice a month, maybe. And the dude is really, really cool. He and I have a lot of respect for him as a broadcaster and as a person. I think that if you have anything that you could give toward the cause of literally saving this dude's life, you can find him. It's Soul Brother. It's SB sbkkidney.com or something like that. Or,
You know, we'll make sure to look it up.
Yeah,
we'll put
look
it
it
at
up
the
and-
bottom of this YouTube
Yeah.
page, so you
Yeah,
can click
fine.
on that for SBK.
But yeah, so it's just basically look. Orlando radio is a very small community. Everybody knows everybody,
Right.
And if you screw up in a place, like they're gonna know, and you're not gonna do work in this area. I teach.
Then
at
you
the-
got to go to Tampa.
Yeah. Oh, was that a dig at some people?
I don't know.
that happens.
I actually used to work with a couple of people that went to Tampa. Oh, come on. He's actually cool. But anyway,
I'm sure he is.
he's changed a lot.
that was just one time.
That was just one time. I need to stop. I need to get off the subject.
But maybe we'll change the subject. I was just SBK for a second.
Yeah.
I remember calling into their show when Adam Yauch from the Beastie Boys died, because I feel like
Yeah.
at the time that he died, that was the only station that I could call and actually talk to somebody that would know what I was feeling at that
That would
time, which was
appreciate
just
it.
tremendous sadness.
Absolutely.
That one of my Beatles had died. It was
Yeah.
so sad. And I you know, it's hard to get on the radio as a caller and stay on for a long period of time. Usually you're good for 30 seconds to a minute.
Yep.
But I was actually on for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Wow.
And it was just nice to just talk. It was really sad that day.
Well, SBK Live, and by the way, I mean not to plug other people, but I mean, look, they have a podcast and it's fantastic. I listen to it religiously, and that was one of the things that they did. They were the people's show.
Yeah.
And that was that evening time slot, because honestly, I started off my first time that I ever cracked on a mic on FM radio was on a show called The Hideout.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, sure.
You remember The Hideout? Okay.
Sure.
I was the jerk that was running around acting like he was Hefe and was making him
okay.
mad. I was not Hefe.
Oh.
And that's how I started. That's how I started to infiltrate radio, infiltrate terrestrial radio. I had been a part of a pretty successful internet station that had like 250,000 listeners worldwide, and that was the first time I ever cracked a mic on any sort of broadcast.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was a new step for me, because it was, I was getting mic time on literally a legendary station.
Yeah, and I feel like that station, as legendary as it is, they weren't giving a lot of chances for shows. Need an opportunity to try and build an audience.
Absolutely.
And there was a time after Drew Garabo left, I think, that they were just trying, let's throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Well,
but they
we
weren't
were
giving you enough opportunity.
Well,
So,
that's the thing. We were the show right after Garabo. Like I say, I was
speaking
there.
of going,
I
yeah,
enjoyed
Yeah.
The Hideout. I thought The Hideout was very entertaining.
And you know what? It's funny because everybody. I mean, there were a lot of people that thought that way, but the numbers, I guess, didn't show it.
That's
I didn't.
unfortunate.
Unfortunately, I wasn't to the point when the Hideout was going on. I mean. When I say our show, I mean that very loosely.
Sure.
I mean, I was there a couple times a week. I was cracking jokes. In fact, I just found a clip of me in November of 2005 on the Hideout, the first day that Hefe called me out for acting like him in downtown Orlando.
2005, like
2000
10 years ago.
Like 10 years ago.
Jeez.
10 years ago, I was on the microphone and he was berating me for acting like I was El Jefe in downtown.
Yep.
And it was pretty fun. It was a funny bit because everybody else was in on it except for him. So that's what made it funny.
Was that the evening show or was that the afternoon show?
That was the evening show. The afternoon show has been and will always be, I think,
no.
the Phillips
I
File.
meant in between Monsters and Phillips.
Oh no! In between Monsters and Phillips was the Shannon Burke show.
Right, but that's gone through a couple of iterations
Yeah.
since then as well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say.
Yeah,
that
so
I
it
think
went Shannon Burke, and then after Shannon Burke, the Buckethead show went on.
Right.
And then SBK Live went
And
in the
SBK.
evening, and then so now it's the News Junkie, and I think they're doing fantastic.
Yeah, I think they're doing really well.
Their
I
think they're
books
great.
are incredible
Yeah,
right now.
they're
So
funny.
shout out to them. Why are
Absolutely.
we shouting out every other?
I don't know.
Because we're a community, and I think we need to, we respect the community and
Yeah,
we support
absolutely.
the community.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the community, there's certainly a community here at Gods and Monsters when it comes to not only enjoying comic books and artwork and games and toys. It's just from the. Were you here at the grand opening?
I wasn't. I was
That's
actually
right.
DJing another place.
That's right.
was
There
madness.
was a conflict. You weren't able to be here, but talk about a sense of community. This place is just tremendous. And now that they've added beer and wine to
Oh, my
to the
God.
list, it's great because the gates go down at 9 p.m.
These podcasts are going to get better.
That's right. They're going to get a lot funnier. Maybe the content won't be as funny, but it's going to feel a lot funnier.
Oh yeah.
But tell us about when it comes to the N.FM. What is it you're looking forward to? Like, let's say in the next 6 months to a year. What kind of down the road are you looking forward to?
Well, in the next year, we have a lot of stuff. Like, I have a lot of big plans, and I have since I started this. And one of the things when you start something like this, you have to be ready to be disappointed at some point.
Sure.
And over the last 2 years, I've had my fair share of disappointments, but I've learned a whole ton. And that's put me in a position where now I can actually say that I think it's going to be realistic, the vision that I have for the next year, which is to get an RV, make it a fully broadcastable RV,
Yes.
and travel from here all the way across the U.S. to Washington State.
Podcasting the whole way.
Broadcasting and podcasting the whole way, both with turntables,
Yep.
talk shows. Like, I'm talking 3-4 mic setup.
It sounds like a great idea. He told me about this a couple weeks ago.
I can't.
If
I
you
can't,
take it, I'm going to kill you all.
I can't shake the idea of that movie with Christian Slater.
Pump Up the Volume?
Pump Up the Volume.
Yes.
Where he made a mobile radio station.
Yes.
By
And
radio station.
I've never even watched that movie.
Ahead of its time, yes.
But
That's terrific.
But they stole my idea, and I want 10%.
At the time, a movie that played a very obscure B-side Beastie Boys song that has never been on any album before.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
just
yeah.
in. Oh, this
This
is my
just
drink,
in,
yes.
coffee.
It was a song that never made it to Paul's Boutique, but it was reworked for. That's a story for another time.
Sure.
But Pump Up the Volume, man. You got,
Yeah,
gotta see
I've
that.
seen it.
Ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, it was rad.
I,
love that movie.
But
So-
yeah, so it's basically, we're going to wrap it with advertisers and stuff like that. So if you're interested in advertising on something really, really dope, that's going to be, this is something that's not going to be, like, I don't think that there's anybody else on internet radio or terrestrial radio that's done something
No,
like this.
nothing like that.
And
What are you going to do? You're just going to go to interesting places and do podcasts?
we're going to travel between here and there, and maybe get some gigs for the DJs that are traveling with us.
You have an RV deal worked out yet? You kind of looking?
No, but that's actually one of the things that we're one of the sales guy that we just brought on. He's going to be our sales manager. One of the first things that I told him, we brought him on
Make
like
that
a week
happen.
ago.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, this is a big thing. Like, you don't understand. This is huge. And he's like, okay, all right, I get it. You want an RV
Right.
RV sponsor? I get
I
it.
think he can swing that.
Yeah,
That'd
so
be great.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. I understand. There's going to be people that are like, the people that are coming with us are people that are living off of this. So, like, it's a crazy cool phenomenon, and it's just another way that you could say, like, it's 2015. We put a man on the moon. Now we're able to travel
Right.
from anywhere and broadcast from anywhere. We just got high-def pictures of Pluto.
I know. That's right.
Like, and now we're able to, like, I want to broadcast from space.
So
That's
at the
my
very,
next one.
very least, we should be periscoping from your RV.
Exactly. Oh no, we're going to be more than periscoping. Although periscoping will be. I got to tell you, I snuffed my nose at the periscope thing.
Periscope and Meerkat came
And-
out. It was kind of like, I don't know
like,
about this, but
somebody was saying Meerkat, and I was like, Periscope. That sounds a lot more like it would be. Like, it sounds like a better name for me. So
Right.
I chose what's it called? Periscope, and now I'm like, I broadcasted like 5 times today. It's just like,
Wow.
I'm bored. Let me get good on the turntables.
You know,
this will be your 6th time, by the way, because it's all you right now.
It
on,
is
on
all
Periscope.
me? Man,
You've only got,
I'm sorry,
You've
people.
only got 3 viewers right now, but it's
Aw.
been fluctuating between 3 and 7.
You know,
You just said
'cause-
podcast from space, man. If one of the guys from the ISS started a podcast, I would listen to that
Oh,
every
absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
Every episode.
What kind of cell phone reception do they get up at the space station?
They should have really good
He
sound.
should be periscoping right now from the
pretty
space
sure they
station.
It would be the most high def stuff because they're right there next to the satellites. They can't, you
Absolutely.
can't get any closer, man.
So tell us, one of the people who works here, one of the big names here is Mouse.
Yes.
He did a lot of the designing here. He's been
Incredible job,
he's
by the
blasting this Tron music right now so that YouTube boots us off the air.
Sorry.
I got to tell you, one of the things when I put together the montages for the fake commercials that I put together for Gods and Monsters, the
Yeah.
one thing that YouTube booted me off for were the Daft Punk songs. So if you want to turn that down, they're probably going to boot us off of here.
Well-
so yeah, tell me where you met Mouse.
I met Mouse years ago when I was doing a lot of. Actually, I met him through the Hideout because I was doing a lot of work, like DJing and stuff downtown, and so was he. And so he came in. They were doing like an industrial night, I think, over in downtown, and I was a part of it. So like I became like it was just really cool, and I just kept going and met up with the actually one of the other people that I met around that time is actually one of our sales guys,
Oh, okay.
our sales manager. So yeah, met a lot of really cool people. But it was downtown like 10 years ago.
Oh, back when it was fun.
Back when, yeah,
10 years. I think it's even longer than that. isn't it?
11.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
11 years ago, I guess it would be. It would be when we met.
When was the last time we were down at Church Street and Nickel Beer and like what?
That was
that was back in the
Nickel Beer,
1900s.
holy crap.
that was in
Back in the late 1900s.
that was in the 90s.
I remember that
Charles
Daniel,
Barkley pushing somebody through a window down on Church Street.
That happened.
That happened.
Yeah, I remember that it was Daniel Dennis that would do the nickel beer thing. So it's got to
Daniel
be.
Dennis.
He
It was
did?
before. Yeah, he did
Holy
the.
crap.
Yeah, him and
Daniel and Drew. Now that was
Drunky
a
the
show.
Bear?
No, that was way
No,
before.
No, you're talking about Carlos.
Yeah, you're talking
Black
about
Bean.
Black
Black
Bean,
Bean.
yeah.
Daniel and Drew. That was a show. You know, while I think of it, because the song is in my head now. Back to 106.7, my
Yes.
song that I wrote in. If you
Oh,
recall
God.
the
There we
lyrics
go.
to Rhythm Nation, Janet
Oh,
Jackson,
no.
we are a part of a Rhythm Nation.
Sing it, Q.
I changed to XL 106.7. It was the same beats. I was hooked. That's why I came in second place. It was that good.
Wow.
I'll find that for next week.
I actually did a remix for the Hideout with actual turntables of
I might have heard that.
yeah.
Like
it-
the
it-
opening
it was
show,
a-
or-
It was a Chunks. It was a one of the guys on the show. His name was Chunks,
Yeah.
and they had a bunch of like clips of him saying embarrassing stuff, and they were like, "Here's a whole slew of him saying embarrassing stuff."
I
So-
absolutely remember
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
It was hilarious.
So Hefe came up to me, and he actually did. It was a contest because it was a bunch of people. He goes, "You should do a remix, a Chunks remix," and I was like, "All right, cool." So I took the Mortal Kombat theme song, and I
We're back
cut.
to Mortal Kombat again.
Yeah, I cut his voice into the Mortal Kombat stuff. So it was pretty funny. It was interesting. I think that I would probably do a lot better job 10 years later, but it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of XL, how did 105 get away with the BJ 105 stuff? That's ridiculous.
Because, what year was that?
That was like mid 80s to the late 80s.
Refresh my memory on the
Because it was before the nip
10-
slip.
105.9 105
Mix 105.1.
105.1 used
Okay.
to be BJ 105.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That was their call sign or whatever. That was their
Well,
slogan
the abbreviation. I do a show on the End Radio Network. Shameless plug. Called the
plug away.
Yeah, the Hijack, and the Hijack is myself and a dude by the name of Greg Runge, and that the show when we do the podcast, every time my producer chops up the podcast, it's the HJ podcast. So I'm just like, I don't know if I should use that. I kind of want to use it as a marketing thing, but I don't want to be known as the Hand Job Podcast. I just so
Oh, that's great. So that's I was asking you 6 months, a year down the road, what you expect to see after
hopefully
the
a
road trip.
broadcast RV.
Let's say you take the RV road trip. What are you have any big plans after that you think of
Nope.
down the road? That's your big. How long would this
After
road
that,
trip?
after that, I'm done.
How long of a
surviving.
road trip would you like to take?
Probably about. I'm guessing it's going to take about a month. It'll be about 2 weeks there, 2 weeks back.
Sure.
And I don't know. I'm a big fan of just the reason that this came up was you were talking about a movie, but what inspired me to do this was my father, who's 86 years old and currently bound to a wheelchair, was really active, and one of his big dreams was taking an RV and going around the country with us as kids, and it was something that really stuck because I was like, man, that is a really cool idea. And so now I told him that I'm doing it, and he is ecstatic.
That's cool.
That's actually something I'm doing next year. I'm buying a new car at the end of summer, and I'm gonna go 48 states in 48 days. That's
Oh, nice.
That's my big plan.
Yeah,
Coming to
yeah.
a website near you soon. You got it. You got to.
Yeah.
Thanks to Periscope, you can Periscope the hell out of that.
Seriously.
I'll have to figure that one out.
Absolutely.
Periscope, I honestly, it blows my mind every time I think about how hooked I am on Periscope right now.
I was on vacation and I spent the whole time. Let's see what's going on in Australia right now.
and when you broadcast, how many people do you usually have looking at you?
It depends. I've had upwards of 30.
30. How does that feel?
Well, you
Art?
have two
30.
right now,
You
so
got two.
you're doing
Okay.
awesome.
All right.
But I
30
mean,
is
like,
good.
but it's very like it fluctuates a lot because I mean, people's attention span is very very small. Like until
I know.
I think that until Periscope can make it so that we could broadcast, and I think that that's their vision ultimately is to be able to broadcast high quality sound
Right.
and video.
I got to say, the sound is actually better than the video. Most of the times, the video's pixelated, but the audio is pretty good.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what's going on right now is they can't hear us.
Right,
So
we're
they
trying.
don't-
We
they don't
tried to
know.
hook the mixer straight into the iPhone, and we were having issues right
Disaster.
now.
Yeah.
We're into a little microphone here, and people have said that sounds better
Yeah.
than what we were doing before with this whole mess. But over summer vacation, I took this microphone and plugged it straight into the iPhone, and it sounded great.
Yeah.
So I was just walking around on vacation like an idiot, and just walking around with this.
That
we
is
tried this
awesome.
earlier today. It didn't work. So for right now, people can sort of hear us all. Two
And
of
people
them.
can sort of see me, which is actually kind of
Right.
a good thing.
Oh yeah, they got a great shot of you because
Oh.
our signal is strong. I'm not using
Oh, okay.
Wi-Fi. I'm using good old AT&T.
Oh,
little
okay.
Plug.
Well, yeah,
But
we've
that's
been
good.
plugging away. I mean, this is plug radio.
So I'm very interested to see the RV trip happen.
Oh,
I mean,
my
that
God.
would be fantastic.
It's a dream of mine. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I think that right now we have the team together where we'll be able to do that, and it'll raise awareness about another avenue that podcasters can actually monetize. I know podcasts that sell out stadiums.
What?
I know there's a particular podcast. I'm not going to name them because they already get enough plugs as it is.
Sure.
And I'm trying to do
Is it
this.
Adam Carolla?
No, it's not Adam.
I was going
Carolla.
to say it's either Adam or
It's-
Kevin Smith, but these
it's-
people
no.
can sell. They can go to their local clubs and just sell them out.
These are people that are not show people. They did not transfer from one place to another. These are two dudes that sit there with their microphones in a living room, and in fact, when they do their show, they actually take the couch and the coffee table and set up the living room on stage for their.
That's awesome.
Now, here's the best
It's
part.
click and clack.
They are doing so well that they have sold out 2 shows in New York.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Like, and this is the only way they make money.
Right.
And that's the problem. The problem is that these podcasters are putting out this great content that hundreds of thousands of people are listening to, getting hundreds of thousands of clicks, and they're not able to monetize it. One of
Right.
these guys can't even pay his cell phone bill
Why are they not able to monetize it?
because the problem is that, okay, it's the same problem that people have when they buy, I don't know if you know this, but you could buy, well, you know this, you could buy brokered time
Sure.
on radio stations and TV stations. Well, what people do, most people do, like unless you have, $50 million in the bank and you don't care, then you're going to be spending this money so you can actually monetize it, so you can sell the advertising. Well, in 10 years of broadcasting, I can't tell you how many times people have bought airtime from $800 to $1,200 an hour
Whoa.
for a radio station. If you want to buy airtime on a sports station or on any other type of station, and you want to buy it $800 to $1,200 an hour.
Jeez.
I had no idea. It was
Yeah.
that
I did
expensive.
back in 2004. The show that I just do at home called Overtime with Art Miles. I went to Channel 9 and just bought a half hour of time for 6 weeks in a row at 1:30 in the morning, and it was like $200.
Yeah.
But it was 1:30 in the morning. But at
Exactly.
the time, we did just as good in the ratings as Jimmy Kimmel used to be on. He was on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Used to be on after midnight. And no, it was who's on after him on Carson Daly.
Craig Kilborn?
When Carson Daly and our show were going head to head for the 6 weeks I was on, we were matching his ratings.
Damn.
But $250. That's all it costs to
Yeah.
have a half hour of time at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but that's 1:30 in the morning.
radio.
Try
Whoa.
selling
Yeah.
try selling advertisement at 1:30 in the morning for a brokered show. I dare you.
I did not.
And that's the
You had an
problem.
interesting putter. I think you had a putter.
Yeah, I had 2 sponsors. I sent a demo tape to 80 people, and I got 2 hits. One was
Yeah.
a putting machine where you put your clubs in this little thing and you walk around with it, and the other one was Mr. Hook It Up, which is I think a electronics store that's
yeah,
still
yeah,
in
yeah.
town
That's
here.
right.
And they saw the demo and they're like, "Hey, we like this." So I had 2 sponsors for 6 episodes. We were on for 6 weeks, 1 episode a week. But after a while, you kind of run out of money. But $200 was no big deal for television, but
I have seen
radio.
I have
Oof.
seen and I have seen so many I mean, like, you can get, if you go to a radio station, like an independently owned radio station, you could probably get an hour for $200 to $400 maybe.
Right, which is
an
kind
hour.
of isn't that kind of the story of how Russ Rollins started?
It is,
Uh-huh,
yeah.
absolutely. They
On the
started
weekends.
off with
Russ and Bo started on the weekends.
Party
and they-
Time with Russ and Bo.
They actually
Right.
purchased time to help promote his
his party store.
party store. Yeah.
And then his party store somehow caught on fire.
Whoops.
Yep.
And then he took that money and
Yeah, but
you know,
look-
what,
look at him-
anyway,
look
the
at him
point
now,
is,
yeah.
the point is,
He started out by buying his own time.
Yes.
And now look where he is now. 20 years plus now.
yeah,
The Monsters.
some
different
insurance money and some
variations.
brokered time, and next thing you know, you have a #1 show. No,
That's right.
And you know what? I got to give props to the Monsters and Angel and all those guys. They're great.
Right.
They do really really well.
They've gone through a lot of changes over the years,
yes.
but they're still the Monsters.
Exactly. So, but yeah. So, you know, all these people that are buying brokered time are unable to do anything with their advertisers because you're going to half-ass one or the other. You're either going to half-ass your show production or you're going to half-ass your sales.
That's what I think it is. I think they're really talented at what they do, but they're bad at business, and they don't know how to.
Exactly.
They don't know how to turn what they do very well into something that makes money.
And sometimes they have the knowledge of how to do it,
Right.
but they just physically don't have the time. I mean, it takes a long time. People talk about like, oh yeah, I can do radio. Anybody can do radio.
Right.
Try talking about a tractor for 45 minutes. Like, try talking about like the most
sit with
random stuff.
Yes. Will those be the headsets for him? Mouse
Here,
is going
let
to
me-
come in and join us now. We were
Yes.
talking about you earlier and your connection with DJ Zouain.
I
Those
turned-
microphones
I
work?
I turned his microphone.
Is
down,
that
so
yeah?
turn-
That's not
turn
plugged
his
in. That probably isn't plugged in.
Okay, but which one?
What are we doing here?
He's in.
Oh, he is plugged in. Are you plugged in?
Can you hear anything? No, he's not. He's not plugged in.
No. So
And
there's-
now you're going to learn about audio.
Oh, good.
Those of you watching at
So
home.
okay, so basically, when it comes to, like I said, broker time, these people are essentially either taking all their time and spending it on one thing or the other. So, oh yeah, this is a podcast. You can edit stuff.
Sorta.
I'm used to being broadcaster,
I'm
and
not going to go back and edit this.
oh okay, because I was gonna
The way
fill
actually
time.
I've been doing these YouTube shows is, thank God we're at a comic book store. I put up a mat of what looks like a comic book, and then I have each one of these cameras in a different window.
Okay.
It's easier for me to just drop those on a timeline in the Avid edit system than it is to actually say, cut camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. No. All cameras are up at all times.
Yeah.
And then we just send it to YouTube.
I got to tell you,
Can you hear okay?
I can't do video to save my life. I can't edit video to save my life. It is awful.
That's my thing. I love to edit. I've been editing for
You're gonna get some phone calls and emails.
15 years now with the Avid edit system. I don't think his mic's on.
What's that?
It is.
Is my mic on?
There it
Yes,
is.
Turn him
You're
up.
right there.
Turn him up.
You
Number
are
3.
4, 3,
Three.
3. Go ahead and talk to us,
One.
Mouse.
Test.
Yeah.
Hey there, buddy.
There you
Hey,
go. How are
welcome
you?
to the party.
Was a
We were saying earlier that you two had met each other years ago. What is your recollection of the first time that you met DJ Zouain?
was it a Blue Room?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was,
That was in the blue room.
working for a talk show on a radio. What was it? The Hideout.
The
Yeah,
Hideout.
we were talking about the Hideout
Yeah.
earlier in the show.
And Jakin was one of his friends, so he came in and would hang out sometimes. And he got the girls on from the club night on the radio there, and that's
Well,
how
I didn't. They did.
Jakin or whoever. I don't really know
Yeah.
what was going on there. I
We
was
talked-
just kind of the DJ.
We talked to Zouain about what his plans are for the future with getting the RV and traveling across the country. But what kind of plans do you have, Mouse, that are going to tie into the streaming audio here that we're going to do with the N.FM? What kind of future plans do you have here with Gods and Monsters that you hope to see here?
There's lots. Basically, I want to start doing toy unboxings and game unboxings
Right.
where
You
we
should be doing that
unbox
every week.
things. Yes. Well, I meant to bring in. I obtained a third-party version of a Comic-Con Lego exclusive set of Rocket and the Warbird, and I wanted to bring it in and do a review on it. I'd also like to start doing toy and game reviews, obviously. As much as possible, but we want to do a lot of reviews for third-party things because a lot of people don't touch on that, I guess.
Can you give us an example of a third
Like the
party?
third-party Legos that I was just talking about, and we have a whole bunch of third-party Transformers in the store right now that are not by Hasbro or any major manufacturer. They're just these little manufacturers or customs that people make, and they generally are either really, really terrible or really, really amazing.
We touched on in our last episode, Queen Q got to play a little bit of the Batman game That would be definitely one of the games that we would try to do a review of
Not
here.
only that, also board games, card games.
Sure.
All the new games that come out.
Have you had a chance to play the new Batman game?
No, I don't have a PS4 yet.
Yeah. We need to get one here.
Oh, he's throwing me the evil eye.
We need to get a PS4 or a couple of PS4s here. One
That
needs to
is-
be at your DJ station.
That is also the plan to have right over there will be a PS4, Xbox One, and a Wii U, I believe, set up.
Hooked to the projector?
Nope. There's going to be two very large televisions and some couches, and it's going to be set up like an arcade machine. You can put in some money and play as long as you want.
Oh, nice.
I don't really know how the game setup situation, like what games are going to be on there, if we can change them, or if they're all loaded on the hard drive. But apparently, some company has all that figured out and set up, and they're coming in as a promo to set up. And I need to find out what that company is so I can plug them. But
I was going to say, yeah, do you have a time or a date for that?
I do not, other than soon.
Okay, that's good. Zouain was also mentioning that you might be hooking up with him on one of the other channels at the N.FM. You might be doing
Hopefully.
some mixing with them.
Yeah.
Do some DJing.
Hopefully. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet.
I don't know how you'll find the time since you're here 7 days a week.
I have no idea.
Can you just set up two turntables and a microphone right back here while you're working and just do two jobs
I
at once?
actually use digital.
Get your digital system set up. Actually, we need to set up.
Forget about that two turntables and a
Hey,
microphone.
hey! Watch
Hey,
yourself,
man.
sir. Watch
I
yourself.
still
I
spin
don't-
on turntables.
Do
That's
you
right.
really? Now,
I
see,
learned on turntables, but
That's
I
my
would like to
girl
hear
right
about
there.
that. I want to know more about
There's
that.
nothing much to know. I mean,
When did you start doing that?
when I was 13, my parents got really concerned with me for some reason and sent me up to my aunt's house, my super Christian aunt in D.C. But her husband is a DJ, full-time DJ. He just runs around up there. So to keep me busy while he was at work, he showed me how to work the vinyl. He has a whole room just with vinyl from floor to ceiling.
Oh man!
It goes all the way
Wow.
around. There's
So you-
stuff in there you can't find anymore.
So your
and-
mom and dad were concerned, you said?
So they sent you
Yeah.
to a DJ.
Yeah,
Honey.
so they sent me to a DJ.
We need to have a discussion about Queen Q.
I
What's the
think-
matter? I think we need to get her two turntables and a microphone.
Yeah, I was a huge nerd. I was their first kid and a huge nerd, and they were a little concerned because they just didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
It's like the best intervention ever.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll send you to your aunt's house, and they'll figure it out.
We have any old VHS tapes of you scratching
Spinning.
on the records?
probably, I could probably find one.
Oh, now
Are you-
that's awesome.
Probably
What's your
fine.
main thing? Are you scratch or are you mix?
All mix, all mix.
All mix.
I just
Okay.
like the sound of mix. I got into mix tapes really early
Yeah.
on. I love mixing. I love it when
I'm the same way. I whenever it comes to turntables and turntablism, I respect a lot of the turntablists that are out there that
Yeah.
can cut and beat, juggle, and scratch. And I just use the only reason I use those things is for transitions.
Yep.
Like I mean, I like doing them, and I wish even now I'm learning to do more stuff like that. But honestly, like it's a good transition tool for me.
I just like the sound when
Yeah.
I can blend two nice, decent, like they're in tone with
It's
each other.
the coolest
beats-
thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't.
It's the coolest thing in the
when-
world to me.
The hot thing now when you go out to clubs, because I still go clubbing quite a bit, is they will scratch to transition.
Yeah.
And just like drop in the next song, and it's
Oh.
very like I also used to go dance too, and so when they do that, you're just like,
It's
where's
hard.
the
Yeah.
beat? Where to
Right.
go?
Yeah,
And
I
so,
can't.
yeah.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves when people drop the and you'll hear that a lot in Orlando clubs.
Yeah.
They'll just drop it and just complete train wreck.
It's
Just
kind of
don't-
lazy, isn't it?
It really is. Like
Yeah.
I do that sometimes for just because I want to get out of a song because I can't think of what else to do with it. But man, using a nice loop and using a nice juggle like beat juggling like. I don't know. There's something about that to me that just
A decent loop should be able to save you from that situation.
absolutely, and you can do those things automatically now.
I think I'm
Yeah.
appreciating my ignorance of that whole world because I can just listen to music and appreciate it instead of, dissecting it like you guys.
It's the
No.
worst curse in the world, dude. I gotta tell
Yeah.
you,
It
I can't
happens-
go to a club. I haven't gone to a club in forever.
It happens
because-
with
I
me
go to
with
a lot of the
movies and
underground nights.
television.
It was.
Yeah.
It would be the
Yeah.
best night ever for me when I used to DJ weddings back in the '90s when
Yeah.
I would shoot
That's
weddings
where
and
I
DJ
started.
them.
What was your DJ name?
It was DJ white guy in a tuxedo.
Nice.
The
Hey, I
best
was
thing in the
brown guy in
world
a tuxedo.
when you can get YMCA to finish up and you go right into Moni Moni and you get the beats off those two stupid cassettes to almost match up. You're like, you know what? I got to say it was a good day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there was so much wrong with what you just said.
I know.
That's actually how I started DJ, like wanting
Weddings?
to DJ. No, I had 2 tape decks
Yeah.
when I was really young, and I just would make mixtapes. But my tape decks were not great.
Yeah.
So if you stopped or started them just right, you
Yeah.
could get a mix
You
going,
had to
just
get
kind
a
of accidentally.
feel for it.
Yep.
You'd
And
queue
then
up-
I figured out how to do it and started doing that. And then I started then I got a DJ mixer and started doing with my CDs.
I knew guys that would actually take the tape and like the guys that would DJ with tapes would hit play and actually chase the song like you would a vinyl record.
Right.
Like
yeah.
with the spin with the motor itself.
Right.
It was crazy.
You just
I
have
couldn't believe
to
it.
jack the door off of
Old
the
Yeah.
school.
off of
Yeah,
the,
that is
the tape
real
deck
old
there.
school right there.
There's nothing like seeing a bride just be like, yeah. That
You
was-
know
that
what?
was my
I
joy.
I started off DJing DJing weddings like that was, but I was lucky because I was in one of the few DJ companies that would actually mix. Like these were club DJs that went to weddings because they smartened up and said, "Hey, I don't want to DJ past 10 o'clock and make
Right.
a lot of money."
Right.
And I mean, honestly, like I'll DJ a wedding and get out with $1,000
Oh,
because I mean, like when you're doing that, when you know the right questions to ask and you know everything and you're not just spinning music, you like I have 50 questions that I ask somebody if I go do their wedding. I don't do them all that often, but when I do, I make sure that it's right. And there's a small handful of weddings that I'll do. Like there's a ton of weddings that I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Now, if they come up with like, hey, I'll give you
Crazy
$3,000,
money.
I'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll play
What's-
polka for
this was
$3,000.
the date?
I don't give a
For
crap.
me, this was
Right.
in the early '90s, and we get very little input from the brides, except for unless she came to us with a do not list.
Uh-huh.
Do not play the Macarena.
Oh, I
You
ask
know,
them special
do not.
songs and do not plays.
Right, do not. All we would
Yep.
get from them are the do nots, and they kind of trust us because they would get a VHS demo of our work from previous weddings because it was also a wedding video company.
Yeah.
And so they kind of left us alone, which I really liked about it.
I use a scaled system where I ask them, how much do you like or hate this song?
Right.
If 15 people come at me asking me for the song, do I give in or do I say no? If your mother comes out asking me for
Right.
it on fire, do I say no?
It's nice that when the bride says, do not play the YMCA, I don't want that to be my wedding. That type of wedding where they play the YMCA and everybody comes up, play it. And a part of me is like,
Nope.
damn, I wish I could play it because I know everybody would get on the dance floor, but the bride says no. She's killing the buzz, but she's the boss.
In the time that I've done weddings, I can count maybe on one hand the amount of times that I played the YMCA, the chicken, any of those dances. I just
Well,
don't.
what years was
I-
that?
I have clearly never been
04
to
to
one of the
15.
weddings.
It still is a thing
04
to
to
play.
15? Oh, I was doing it 90,
I can't.
93 to 99.
They
where it
still
was-
request the chicken dance.
Oh,
They
sure.
still request all that
White people got to dance somehow.
dumb crap.
Come on.
They don't. If white people are wanting to dance at the chicken dance, they don't hire me.
We need songs that tell us what to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, there's new
Dang.
ones of those too.
Yeah, there sure are.
Yeah.
There's some really popular one where it explains the dance.
Slide to the right.
That's right.
Crisscross.
I don't remember
Yeah,
the
I hate
name of
that
the song.
song.
There's a
but-
new one, and
Everybody
there's a
clap
dance,
your
and they don't
hands.
even. I had to learn from the people because they don't explain the dance in the song.
Right.
Oh, really?
They just expect you
if
to know
go,
it.
Yeah, if you go look up the music video, the dance isn't in the music video either.
Is that
That's
every
stupid.
country line
yeah,
dance song?
it's the wobble.
I love it that
Oh,
we're.
the
Yeah.
wobble. That's
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
yeah.
watch the music videos. The dance ain't in the music video. How do people know to do the wobble?
I play. You know what?
Where's
I don't
the
know to do the
instructions
wobble.
for this song?
I'll show it to
I am
you
not
one day.
familiar.
Well,
How
I don't
did
even know the song to do the wobble too.
How did
I have
any-
never
how did-
heard of this.
How did
wobble
anybody?
baby, wobble baby, wobble baby.
How did anybody learn how to do the electric slide? What did that come from?
Boy, good point. We had to, as
Someone
a
just
DJ,
made it up.
We would have to explain that for the first two beats of the song. We'd have to show
Oh, that's a
everybody
good
how to
time.
do it.
Yeah,
But that was 90.
You literally could not pay me enough money to do
I
that.
know.
Me
Those were
neither.
dark
I
times.
have
Those
flat
were
out
dark times.
No, I've flat out said
All
to
the
people,
note.
I'm like, look, if you guys are looking for like the DJ that's gonna be like all about this and like, hey, let me get some funny glasses or hey, let me play the chick.
Oh,
No,
no.
call somebody else
Here's
because
the-
I will not do it.
Here's the inflatable saxophone.
No, and the way that I get them to not ask for stupid songs is I keep the dance floor packed every time, and I just build up from the previous mix. If you just keep mixing from one mix to the next, and it's just one continuous song, they will not come over and ask you. And the ones that do are like, okay, that's cool, and then they leave, and 20 minutes later, they've forgotten about it, and they're pumping their fist to whatever the
because
hell
they're,
I'm playing.
they're having a good time.
Exactly.
Right.
I love it that you guys busted your ass to to open the second largest comic book store in the country, and we're talking about wedding DJing. That's awesome.
Yeah, where the hell did that
We
come from?
we
That's
have a lot of time that we can fill over the course of the next several years anyway, so
Yes.
we'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
Yes.
We
So-
can talk about whatever we like.
Well,
We'll
why
get
don't
to
you
it.
talk a little bit about what's going on here visually and audio-wise
Oh my
that's
God.
changed even since the grand opening that you like here?
Oh, well, I have probably about once a week I add a bunch of songs to the soundtrack. Obviously, the entire soundtrack is pop culture themed
Sure.
songs.
You blasted that Daft Punk song while we were interviewing. YouTube's going to shut us down. That's the one song of all those shows we did during the grand opening. When the Daft Punk song came up and I loaded that onto YouTube, I got a message. The little triangle comes up with the exclamation point, and it says, "Your video will not be played in Germany for this song." And it was Daft Punk for the Tron soundtrack.
It recognized it?
It recognized it because where we were for the grand opening, the music was so loud.
Oh,
that,
wow.
That
Damn
it
you,
was-
Shazam.
It was coming through, and it was like that little algorithm they have to understand what songs are, even when we're talking. It said, "Your video will not play in Germany because of the Daft Punk song D-Rez."
Dang. Come on,
Wow.
Daft Punk. Well, you know what? That soundtrack is owned by Disney.
Yes.
Well-
Disney will shut that down.
And one of the things that that happened to us was when we do our shows and we set up the podcast. One of our shows is Some Kind of Awesome Radio on the end, and we were uploading their podcast. And when we registered it, they were like, "Yeah, no, there's copyright violations and stuff." And I was like,
Where?
because it was a music show. It's a music show, so they played
Okay.
a lot of music that's either underground or just surfacing. So I had to email them and to say, "Hey, look, I pay my ASCAP license, I pay my BMI, I pay, so I pay my licensing. Let me play my damn music." And so they were like, "Oh, okay, never mind."
So
And
they
I was
just
like,
assumed
really?
you didn't pay those fees
Because most
you were
people.
Because you're a
Well,
podcast?
most-
because
well,
you're a podcast
exactly.
or you were underground and
Yeah, so they were like, "Oh, we can't play this because."
it is amazing though that now even the underground songs are like, "Hey man, that's copyrighted."
Yeah, it blows my mind when I see copyright infringements on some music. Like, I know that the artist right now is going, "No, let it play, let
Right,
it play.
play the hell out of it, please. Put it in a commercial. Do whatever it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Get it out there.
Put it in a Disney musical."
Okay, so once again, let us know. There's the end.fm. You want to give
Yes.
us a breakdown on some of the shows again that we can find
Yes,
on
so
your channels.
right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m., you can listen to The Hijack live, and that's myself and a guy by the name of Greg Runge. He's out of WEMF up in Boston. He came down here and joined us back in August of last year. And so we do, it's kind of like a lifestyle talk show, 7 to 9, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We play replays throughout the week. So Monday through Friday, 7 to 9, you'll hear The Hijack on the end. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can actually call in and tweet at us, and we'll yell at you back.
Let us know anywhere where we can specifically find you on Facebook or Twitter, any place.
Anywhere you could find me is on @DJZ as in zebra OUAIN.
Zouain. Let's go around the table again. Let us know where we can find you on the internet. Thank you. Yeah,
That's a loaded question.
Pass.
Pass. Mouse, where can we find you on the Facebook and the Twitters and
Usually,
such?
if you just search for Prof Killjoy 7Z, that'll bring me up.
Yeah.
Can we see a lot of your artwork and stuff that you've done?
Oh yeah, that's my DeviantArt name. That is my Facebook name. That is pretty much the handle I go by for everything on the internet.
All right. And Greg Moan, where can we find you and your photography?
All you got to do is put into the Google Good Egg Productions.
The
and,
Google machine.
About 7 or 8, 12, 15 things will pop up. Some of those work, some of those not so much. But
Good egg.
you'll find it.
Good Egg Productions.
Good
yes.
Egg Productions.
That
Some of
is-
them are good eggs, some of them are not so good.
That is a. I like that name.
Yeah.
Where
And
did
he's
that
got a
come
good little
from?
logo too.
I'll
the
tell
egg,
you the story.
The egg with a little halo over it. He's got a great little graphic too. And you can find me at the Gods and Monsters YouTube page. Do a search for Gods and Monsters, or Gods and Monsters Orlando, or Gods and Monsters Artigan, or Gods and Monsters comic book. We put a lot of tags at the bottom because there's Gods and Monsters is a very common thing.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
godmonsters.com.
Godmonsters.com.
It is being updated as we speak.
So that people
Awesome.
can do online shopping. Is
Yep.
that one of the reasons? Yep.
Yep.
Whoa.
Holler.
And also, you can find the End FM specifically on the End FM for everything. That's Twitter. That's Instagram. All of
Nice.
it.
And if you have the Android phone, definitely download that app.
Yes.
There's a lot for you to choose from.
And if you have an Apple phone, get an Android phone.
No.
Amen.
Well, we just lost that sponsor. Well, thanks.
We don't want that sponsor because then our show would have to be
Hey.
have no personality.
Oh.
You know how I got that PS4 for free?
But it would be
I
so
got all my
stable.
Apple phones for free
So
too.
stable.
Well, you got them for what they're worth.
Oh.
Oh man.
Well, at the
Wow.
54th minute of this episode, I'll say thanks for watching and look for us again next week during Game Night Magic the Gathering on Friday nights. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.